Hello there, this is Nightline and I'm Nadia Azmi. Here are the headlines. 8 MOUs to be signed during Datuk Seri Anwar's maiden visit to Indonesia as PM. And Sabah political crisis, PM to meet state leaders to find solution. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim's maiden official visit to Jakarta on Sunday can bring about a major impact to the bilateral ties of both Malaysia and Indonesia, especially in exploring new working relationships. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Zamri Abdul Kadir said the Prime Minister will also witness 8 Memoranda of Understanding (MOU) signings, which among others will enhance economic cooperation between the two countries. According to Datuk Seri Zamri, the Prime Minister's 2-day visit was at the invitation of Indonesian President Joko Widodo. Both leaders were scheduled to meet at Istana Bogor on January 9th to strengthen the bilateral ties between Malaysia and Indonesia. Among the issues that will be discussed are economic and investment potentials by Malaysia in Indonesia, strategies to overcome the discrimination of palm oil by the European Union, territorial and maritime issues, employment and security of migrant workers from Indonesia, as well as the Indonesia's chairmanship of ASEAN in 2023.
Sejumlah 8 memorandum persefahaman akan dimeterai antara sektor swasta Malaysia dan Indonesia. Selain daripada itu juga, sebuah majlis penyerahan 11 pucuk surat minat atau LOI oleh syarikat-syarikat Malaysia.
Datuk Seri Anwar was also scheduled to present a public talk about strategic relationship Malaysia-Indonesia and will take the opportunity to meet and greet the diaspora of Malaysia in Jakarta. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim will hold a meeting with Sabah leaders to discuss the state's political issues as soon as he returns from his official visit to Indonesia. The Prime Minister also insisted that the political situation in the state remains under control despite the ongoing uncertainty.
Saya dah cakap dengan Ketua Menteri Haji dan saya difahamkan Datuk Seri Zahid pun dah bercakap dengan Surah Bu Mokhtar. Dan keadaan terkawal untuk seketika dan insya-Allah kita dapat pastikan keadaan pengurusan kerajaan negeri itu tidak terjejas kerana keutamaan kita ialah menjana pertumbuhan ekonomi dan menjaga kepentingan rakyat.
He was met by the media after chairing the Pakatan Harapan Presidential Council meeting in Petaling Jaya on Saturday. On Friday, Sabah UMNO Chief Datuk Seri Bong Mokhtar Radin in a press conference announced that UMNO and Sabah Barisan Nasional BN were withdrawing support for Sabah Chief Minister Datuk Seri Haji Noor, as they had lost confidence in his leadership and because there was a breach of an agreement between BN and Perikatan Nasional. Currently, Datuk Seri Haji has the support of at least 44 assemblymen, including 30 from GRS, 7 from Pakatan Harapan PH, 5 from BN, and 1 each from Parti Harapan Rakyat Sabah and Sabah PAS. The opposing camp with 35 seats are Warisan with 19 assemblymen, 12 from BN, 3 from Parti Kesejahteraan Demokratik Masyarakat KDM, as well as an independent. In Kota Kinabalu, Sabah Chief Minister Datuk Seri Haji Noor went to Istana Seri Kinabalu for an audience with Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Johor Mahiruddin on Saturday, following the failed plot to oust him from office. He was seen arriving in a black car and entering the palace gates at about 4:30 p.m. The car ferrying Datuk Seri Haji was then seen leaving the palace at 5:20 p.m, with the Gabungan Rakyat Sabah GRS chairman waving and smiling to media practitioners waiting in the rain at the gates since 10 a.m. However, he did not stop to address them. Aside from Datuk Seri Haji, no other state party leaders or elected representatives were seen entering the palace. The office of the Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Sabah, as well as the Chief Minister's office, have yet to issue any official statement on the meeting. The palace became the centre of attention following the failed coup staged by Sabah UMNO Chief Datuk Seri Bong Mokhtar Radin, who is also one of the 3 state deputy chief ministers. Previously, sources said the palace had told GRS state assemblymen to state their stand on who they support to be the chief minister. However, it was not clear if other political parties with representatives in the State Assembly have been asked to do so. Earlier on Saturday, State Palace Communications Secretary Dato Abdul Rashid Tahir was reported as saying that the State Assemblymen will be called in soon to state their stand on the matter. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Bong Mokhtar Radin posted on his Facebook account pictures of him and other Sabah party leaders meeting Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zaid Hamidi, who is also UMNO President, in Kuala Lumpur earlier on Saturday. In his post, the Sabah UMNO chief said the state party leaders were there to discuss the current political crisis in Sabah with the federal UMNO leaders and have explained the situation to them. The Kinabatangan Member of Parliament did not reveal what was discussed during the meeting, but included a cryptic message in the post saying every beginning must have an end. A new struggle has just begun and the journey is still a long way to go. Also present during the meeting were Deputy UMNO President Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan and UMNO Youth Chief Datuk Dr. Ashraf Wajdi Dusuki. Meanwhile, 5 Sabah BN Assemblymen as well as elected representatives from Sabah PH have pledged their undivided support for Datuk Seri Hajiji as Sabah Chief Minister. In expressing disappointment over the latest political turmoil in the state, they stressed that all parties should instead focus their time, energy and resources to revive and develop the state's economy as well as helping the people. In a statement on Saturday, the 5 BN Assemblymen expressed their dismay and regret that Sabah and its people have again been dragged into the political crisis by irresponsible parties. They also stressed that this was not the time to grab political power, but a time to be united. The Assemblymen also said that in line with the aspirations of the people of Sabah, they too want political stability and reject any attempt or action by any party that wants to cause chaos and unrest among the people. In a separate joint statement, all 7 Sabah PH Assemblymen believed the State Legislative Assembly should not be dissolved. However, they added that if the political crisis in the state was not dealt with immediately, it would lead to a hung assembly. In the meantime, 4 GRS component parties have reaffirmed their support for the coalition's chairman, Datuk Seri Hajiji Noor, to remain as Sabah's chief minister amid the political uncertainty in the state. They claim that the withdrawal of support towards Datuk Seri Hajiji by Sabah BN through its component party UMNO was evidence of an earlier movement between the party and Warisan to cause political instability in the state. In a joint statement issued on Saturday, the leadership of the 4 component parties in GRS stressed any move to form a backdoor government is an act of betraying the mandate of the people and should be rejected. They also said that Sabah BN's action of withdrawing support for Datuk Seri Hajiji was a follow-up to the failure of the initial coup attempt on Thursday. The joint statement was signed by Parti Bersatu Sabah PBS President Datuk Seri Maximus Ongkili, Parti Solidariti Tanah Airku Star President Datuk Seri Jeffrey Kitingan, Sabah Progressive Party SAPP President Datuk Seri Yong Tek Lee, and United Sabah National Organisation ASNO President Tan Sri Pandikar Amin Mulia. They also agreed that the announcement does not affect Datuk Seri Hajiji's current position because the legitimacy of the Chief Minister is determined through the support of the majority of members of the State Legislative Assembly based on the state constitution. They added that their collective support is also centred on the realization that the interests of the people and the state must be prioritized over the narrow interests of parties and individuals. Warisan President Datuk Seri Muhammad Shafi'i Abdal earlier questioned the legitimacy of Datuk Seri Hajiji's position as Sabah Chief Minister. He said that Datuk Seri Hajiji should respect the state constitution and step down as he was no longer a leader of a party after leaving Sabah Bersatu last month.
Kalau kita lihat dari segi perlembagaan di Sabah cukup jelas, ya. Sama ada artikel 63 ataupun 67 di situ, iaitu menyatakan tentang kedudukan seseorang, ya, ahli Dewan Undangan Negeri. Ya, pertama dia ketua parti, keduanya dia mempunyai jumlah.
Datuk Seri Shafi'i added that the move by Datuk Seri Hajiji in forming a new political party to keep his position is not just proof of party hopping, but a betrayal of the mandate of the people of Sabah. He also said that warisan will leave it to Sabah Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Johar Mahiruddin to determine the position of Datuk Seri Hajiji as Chief Minister. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim is expected to visit Sarawak in his first official visit as Prime Minister and chair the first meeting of the Malaysia Agreement 1963 Implementation Action Council, MTPMA 63, which will be held in Kuching next month. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof said the meeting would involve Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Oping and Sabah Chief Minister.
Then the first, what we call the council meeting will be in Kuching. So one of the agenda will be to finalize the special allocation for Sabah and Sarawak under 112D of the Constitution. Okay.
This meeting will be slated in early February, right?
It could be latest by early February. Yeah? There's no definite date yet, but that is the indication.
Datuk Seri Fadilah said this after going on a walkabout at Cebu Central Market on Saturday. He also said the meeting, among others, would discuss matters concerning the state's autonomy, including those relating to education and public health. He noted that this had been agreed in principle by the Cabinet and the MA63 committee is currently finalising the details. On Wednesday, Datuk Seri Anwar assured that special grants to Sabah and Sarawak based on Article 112D of the Federal Constitution will be increased to a more reasonable sum as the review was included in the MA63. The Tourism, Arts and Culture Ministry has stressed that tightening the Standard Operation Procedure SOP for entry involving travellers from other countries, including China, is not appropriate nor an effective move. Its Minister, Datuk Seri Tiong King Sing, said that although the safety and health of Malaysians remained a priority, it needs to be balanced with economic factors that are also important for the country. In a statement on Saturday, Datuk Seri Tiong said the government has remained with the status quo and continued to monitor developments from time to time and will tighten the SOP if there is a change in the situation as well as an urgent need. He noted that neighbouring countries such as Indonesia, Thailand and Cambodia also have not tightened the entry of travellers from China. The minister added that the issue of discrimination needed to be taken seriously and pointed out that Malaysia has received travellers globally before this, even though they come from countries that have a high record of COVID-19 infections. He also said it was important to maintain diplomatic relations between Malaysia and foreign countries, especially the country's trading partners, as measures that discriminate against any country could also affect the country's economic growth, especially at a time when the country is recovering. Thailand reports first case of COVID-19 XAY.2 variant. News from the foreign front when we return. From the foreign front. Thailand has reported its first case of the new COVID variant XAY.2. According to the country's Department of Medical Sciences Director General, Dr. Supakit Sirila, the new variant is a combination of XAY.2, a subvariant of the Delta strain, and the Omicron BA.4/5 subvariant. The patient who caught the XAY.2 variant, however, did not experience serious symptoms and has fully recovered. The public was also urged to get booster shots, especially those vaccinated more than 4 months ago, to enhance their immunity and reduce the risk of infection and severity. To date, there are 344 reported cases of XAY.2 globally. The United States House of Representatives has elected Republican Kevin McCarthy as Speaker early on Saturday morning, ending a 4-day stalemate triggered by a mutiny of hardliners in his own party. As he took the gavel for the first time, McCarthy represented the end of President Joe Biden's Democrats' hold on both chambers of Congress.
Our system is built on checks and balances. It's time for us to be a check and provide some balance to the president's policies.
Earlier, before McCarthy's inaugural speech, which laid out a wide range of priorities, from cutting spending to immigration to fighting culture war battles, the 57-year-old Californian suffered one final humiliation when Representative Matt Gaetz withheld his vote on the 14th ballot as midnight approached, prompting a scuffle in which fellow Republican Mike Rogers had to be physically pulled away. McCarthy secured the gavel at last on a margin of 216-212, only after agreeing to a demand by hardliners that any lawmaker be able to call for his removal at any time. McCarthy's victory in the 15th ballot brought an end to the deepest congressional dysfunction in over 160 years, but it sharply illustrated the difficulties that he will face in leading a narrow and deeply polarized majority. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved a highly anticipated new drug designed to slow cognitive decline in patients in mild and early stages of Alzheimer's disease. The drug, to be sold under the brand Leqembi, belongs to a class of treatments that aim to slow the advance of the neurodegenerative disease by removing sticky clumps of the toxic protein beta-amyloid from the brain. Leqembi is the first that has been convincingly shown to slow the decline in memory and thinking that defines Alzheimer's by targeting the disease's underlying biology. The FDA approval of the drug comes just days after the regulatory agency was harshly criticized in a congressional report for its green-lighting of another Alzheimer's drug, Aduhelm. Both drugs were approved through an accelerated process that allows the FDA to fast-track approval of drugs for serious conditions where there is an unmet medical need. Welcome back. On to sports football, the 2022 AFF Mitsubishi Electric Cup. Birthday boy Muhammad Faisal Abdul Halim saved the day for Malaysia with a fine opportunistic goal as they were made to toil for a 1-0 win over Thailand in the first leg of their semi-final clash at the Bukit Jalil National Stadium in Bukit Jalil on Saturday night. The Harimau Malaya stunned the more fancied War Elephants in the 11th minute when defender Sharul Nazim Zulpaka sent a raking pass to overlapping left-back V. Reuven Thiran to head into the path of nippy winger Faisal, who turned 25 on Saturday, to slot the ball past the on-rushing Thai goalkeeper Kittipong Puthauchwek. The goal could very well prove crucial when Malaysia, the 2010 champions, head to Bangkok for the return leg at the Thammasat Stadium on Tuesday in a bid to make the final against either Vietnam or Indonesia. The Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Hajah Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria graced the event at the stadium. Also present were Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Gio, her Deputy Adam Ali Abdul Halim, and Football Association of Malaysia President Datuk Hamidin Muhammad Amin. Still on football, the English FA Cup. Manchester United booked their berth in the fourth round with a 3-1 win over Everton at Old Trafford. United were on the board early when Marcus Rashford crossed to Anthony, who pushed the ball into goal in the 4th minute. Everton equalised 10 minutes later when Connor Cody capitalised on David De Gea's mishandling of the ball at the post. Cody was not as jubilant just after the breakthrough when he toed in the ball for an own goal 7 minutes into second half to give United the edge again. Rashford finally sealed the win for United from the spot in the final minute after Ben Godfrey brought down Alejandro Garnacho in the box. The win continued United's impressive performance, recording 8 consecutive wins at Old Trafford. Moving on to tennis, the Adelaide International. Sebastian Korda of the United States advanced to the final on Saturday after Yoshihito Nishioka was forced to retire hurt midway through the semi-final. The pair battled through the first set to a tiebreak, and at 6-5, Korda's set point had to be replayed after a line judge made a wrong call. Nishioka thought that he had the advantage and that the decision went against him. After Korda took the breaker 7-5, Nishioka angrily threw his racket at the umpire's chair and remonstrated with the official. Korda then broke the Nishioka serve in the opening game of the second set, and the Japanese left-hander called a medical timeout for treatment on an apparent leg injury. Nishioka returned to play a few more points before retiring, with Korda leading 1-love. Korda will face either Novak Djokovic or Daniil Medvedev in Sunday's final. Still to come, KL Tower sale probe, 2 senior directors remanded. Welcome back. The motive behind the homemade bomb explosion that killed a waiter in Pandan Indah Ampang on December 29th was believed to be due to personal problems between the victim and the couple who were arrested over the incident. Acting Selangor Police Chief Dato' S. Sasikala Devi said the victim and the two suspects, aged 33 and 30, were acquaintances from their village in Kedah, with the husband being a contractor and the spouse a housewife. In a media conference at the Ampang Jaya Police Headquarters on Saturday, Dato' Sasikala, however, refused to comment if jealousy was an element in the case as initially believed.
Motif kejadian kes ini adalah berpunca dan berbentuk peribadi. Semua barang kes yang ditemui di tempat kejadian telah dihantar ke Jabatan Kimia dan juga makmal forensik PDRM untuk dianalisa bagi membantu siasatan kes ini.
She added that police raided the couple's house in Serdang, Kedah on Thursday and seized several items connected to the case, such as a paper-cutting knife and firecrackers believed to have been used to make the explosive. She also said that authorities have recorded the statements of 36 witnesses to help in the investigation, and so far, no follow-up arrests have been made. In the 8:55 p.m. incident, a 28-year-old waiter died of severe injuries to his body and hands after a package left on his car bonnet exploded when he wanted to retrieve it. Meanwhile, at the same press conference, Dato' S. Sasikala Devi said a civil servant has been arrested by police for allegedly stealing items belonging to victims of the landslide tragedy at the Father's Organic Farm campsite in Gotong Jaya, Batang Kali last December 16th. She said the 27-year-old suspect was picked up in the Klang Valley on Friday and police would apply for an order to remand the suspect for investigation under the Penal Code. Prior to this, Hulu Selangor District Police Chief Superintendent Sufian Abdullah informed that the police detected a post on Facebook believed to have been made by a family member of one of the landslide victims, claiming that there were irresponsible individuals using a touch-and-go cart belonging to one of the victims. The landslide tragedy claimed 31 lives, while 61 victims survived the incident. Two senior directors with the title Dato' have been remanded for 4 days to assist in the investigation into the sale of shares and the takeover of the concession of Syarikat Menara Kuala Lumpur KL Tower. The remand orders until Tuesday were issued by Magistrate Irza Zulaika Rohanuddin at the Putrajaya Magistrates Court on Saturday. The two individuals, aged 49 and 59, were arrested at the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC headquarters in Putrajaya after giving their statements on Friday. The arrest involved a managing director of a company who was allegedly involved in taking over Syarikat Menara KL. Another is a managing director who allegedly acted as a middleman to handle kickbacks in the deal. Sources said MACC was investigating the possibility that the selection of the company concerned involved a request for bribes amounting to hundreds of thousands of ringgit and a luxury watch as a gift to the superior to facilitate the takeover. MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki, who confirmed the arrests, said the case was being investigated under Section 16 of the MACC Act. Nightline draws to a close this time around. Let's take a look as South Korea's annual ice fishing festival made an impressive comeback on Saturday with a massive turnout of about 129,000 people who braved below freezing temperatures for a chance to catch trout fish on a frozen lake. I'm Nadia Azmi and you have been watching Nightline. Have a restful Sunday and take care.